So by the time that we get through all of this stuff, you can see from my perspective, what is it that you really want to accomplish, that you can accomplish, that we are effective in accomplishing as a minority, as a small sliver that gets no free press, no help, no credibility if they can help it, and by accident. And so what is our goal? Why am I so happy? Why am I so pleased? From what I saw with the revolution, and I knew it was coming, this is what happened. In January of 2007, we had Ron Paul filed his exploratory committee in Texas. That was a Thursday in mid-January. That next morning, Friday morning, my senior editor the night before had put it up on Freedom's Phoenix, my website. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking, I'm going, oh, I know what's going to happen. He had spoken at 2 of our Freedom Summits. Every year we do a Freedom Summit starting in 2001, 3 weeks after 9/11. We were like, should we cancel it? No, we know what's coming. Bumper Hornberger was our first keynote speaker there. And we have great speakers. We've, Lou Rockwell, Walter Block, Doug Casey, Ron Paul, Justin Raimondo, Harry Brown, great names that you definitely recognize. So every year we have all these great speakers come from 2001 up to 06, because 07 and 08 we're busy with the Ron Paul thing. When Ron Paul made this, I'm kind of sort of thinking about maybe someday running for office. What happened was, we go, all right. I called Kent Snyder and I said, is this true? He goes, yeah. If we get enough support, we're going to, that's all I need to know. Thank you very much. I never hear from you again. Because I didn't want to have anything to do with the campaign. I knew better than that. So I just go, we're just going to go ahead and do our own thing. In Phoenix, we went to have a light rail project, which is, there's always some kind of project or doing downtown, tear up some road. So we had all these vacant buildings that were there, and we said, look, we'll give you $500 for a month. We can just use this open space. Nope, it has to be 2 months. All right, fine. So we go to 2 months. So we go in for 8 weeks. We open it because I knew I didn't want to have this long. Everybody wants to create a movement that has around some organization. We'll get into that in a minute. So what happened is that we said, we're going to go ahead and just open this office for 2 months, and we're going to mass produce Ron Paul revolutions. We're going to make the signs, make the stencils, send them out, and I send them to the libertarians I knew around the country. I sent them to like Jim Lizinski in Manhattan, and he goes out and takes video of it and sends us the video back. And all this comes in. Then we started building YouTubes from what we were doing here and other places around the country. We send them to the Granny Warriors in South Carolina. Paul goes there, it hits Fox News, bam, it explodes all over the country. Bam! Why? The whole thing was understanding why. Does anybody have any thoughts? Why?
Because you made the sign.
Who? Yeah, but I mean, yeah, that had a lot to do with it. But the thing is that nobody knew who Ron Paul was. He's an old geezer congressman from Texas on the kind of who? I mean, guy doesn't play guitar or anything. So they're like, who is this guy? I get real excited about this because this is something that libertarians should know. There was never a doubt in my mind what was coming with this revolution. Failure was not an option. I knew what was going to happen. And it was because of his message. He was libertarian. And for the first time, we were going to get a national exposure to a hardcore, no-compromise libertarian philosophy. And if anybody had had the sense in the National Party, they would have jumped all over this way before, Ron Paul and taken it, but they don't. They're trying to be Republicans. So here we have a Republican that's more libertarian than the Libertarian nominee. So I'm going, what do you think was going to happen? So we go ahead and started making these signs. Is there a drink of something I can get real quick? And am I limited on some time? I got so much I want to tell. I'm getting towards the end here, but, you guys freaking out on having to go to the bathroom or anything? Give me about...
Don't give him an energy drink.
Yeah. Give me... Go ahead and switch. Okay, all right. See, I wanted to do this. I wanted to give you, for like Matt, to understand how a young man with this kind of passion would come through this process, the Vietnam War, Watergate, Iran-Contra, and Carter and Reagan, and getting into the Perot thing, and all of the Daddy Bush and the Clinton years was the black hole of whatever. And then you had, you get through, all of a sudden you're doing radio, and you get to this point, you come to some conclusions. Yeah, Matt.
Can I just make a comment real quick?
Sure.
You asked, sort of what's one of the goals? What are we
No, I'll get to that. Okay, let's hold that because that's the end of this. Okay, but now we'll get to it. That's what this whole thing's building up to. I have a point.
Somebody get Ernie in here.
I know. I was at a party one time. Mark Victor's there, and one of the civil rights attorneys now that he has is a guy that worked for Normal. And he goes up and he goes there, and we're sitting there drinking and stuff. And he goes, Ernie, what's your story? And everybody goes, oh, no, stop, don't ever ask it, So that was fun. But so what happens is, here's the Ron Paul revolution. We knew what was going to happen. We just had to spark it and get it going. I knew that logo has already been pre-tested in 06. I knew, and that wasn't my main logo. It was this big V for Vendetta thing. And we just had little bumper stickers that were done because it had extra space on the other ones that we did. And we just put it in. Everybody wanted it. Put it on their laptops, cell phones, what many had to have that thing. So I knew why it was so popular and why Dr. Paul was going to be such a perfect message for the love-olution. You can say revolution all you want as long as you say it with love. It is Rachel Maddow had somebody else. Yeah, well, we revolution. They were going. Yeah, we kind of like because they had love in it. But they're going on about this, love-olution. So we're going. We knew it was going to happen. Everybody was going to be able to express themselves if they were allowed to. Ron Paul and the campaign, Lou and Kent and everything, he really wanted me to come in and do whatever. I go, no, I'm not going to go Republican. I'm staying Libertarian. I'm not, I'm running as a Libertarian. I'm not going to have anything to do with all your stuff. I'm not playing. So in 08, I ran for county recorder so I can keep the election thing as an issue. But what happened was, I'm going, all right, talk to the hand. I'm not playing inside your little collective. I don't deal well with collectives. I don't want to play. But I will help and support. You just let me know where you're going, anything I need to know, whatever. I'll make my own decisions. I don't want to coordinate with. Because then what? I have the unlimited ability to spend as much money and time as I want. It's called the First Amendment. Hundreds of thousands of dollars went through my hands in support of Ron Paul. People gave, this how this thing got funded, because there weren't limits. It's called the First Amendment. The second you start working through the campaign, the second you start sending it to the party, the second you start doing candidates, the second you start, there's all kinds of forms to be filled out. Hell no. It's called First Amendment, have a nice day. So they go, well, how much do I go? None of your business. Well, you care. So the thing is that people, they call me and they say, hey, can I have your logo embroidered on some shirts and hats? Can I sell a book? And I go, look, let me tell you how much ownership I have of that logo. Just enough ownership to make sure nobody has any ownership. It's like the peace symbol. Well, they can abuse and somebody can go, yeah, they could, but I don't care. Because the people will define it. The people will tell you what it means. Ron Paul did a really good job of associating freedom with this thing. So I'm like, it's going to go, it'll live on forever. Heck, it's an icon of America now. Why? You want to kill a movement, try to control it. You want to take a wooden stake and put it through the heart of a movement, try to control it. You can't. Stop trying. Let it go. Because there is no central plan for freedom, even if that central plan has an L after it.